I'm Lauren and I'm from Volunteer Centre Hackney. So what does a volunteer centre do? Well, we're a bit like a dating agency. So we match people who want to volunteer to charities who need volunteers. And since 1997, when we first started, we've helped over 10,000 people into volunteering roles. And in Hackney, that is really, really needed, because in Hackney we've got almost over 2,000 charities, and apparently about 90% of them are run almost entirely by volunteers. So we have about 40 people coming in a week who want to volunteer, and they might be, why do they come in? Well, they might be told to by the job centre, or they might lose their benefits. They might have just been made redundant, or they might just be newly retired and they want to really try out something new. Or they might just be lonely and they just want to get out of the house and make some new friends. So we have over 500 different roles in our database, and for anyone that can be really overwhelming. So we have one member of staff in the front office, because that's all we have money for, to sit with people and ask them what it is they want to do and try and find the appropriate role. And that can be really overwhelming and take a bit of time. But for some people, they just don't know where to start at all. And we just know there's a lot of other stuff going on for them. And they need a lot of support. So that's why we started Step Up. And Step Up helps people with what can be described as mental health issues. So mental health issues, of course, cover a huge spectrum. It can be one-off, or it can be a lifetime of illness that people have to manage. It can be really hidden, and people never know about it, or it can be really quite obvious. And we can all feel down and sad, but it becomes an issue when you can't get out of the house because you're too scared that somebody's going to ask you how you are. Or you don't want to go to work because you're really obvious, you feel that somebody might know about it and ask you questions. Or you're just scared that you're going to mess up your job. For some people, being in this place can go on for months and months and months, and it can be really hard to get back from. So apparently, according to the Mental Health Foundation, about 1 in 4 of us will experience low mental health at some point in their life. So it could be any one of us in here, perhaps some of us have, or I'm sure there's lots of people who know somebody close to them who has. So Step Up, we had Stephen come in to us, see us last year. Now Stephen used to be a qualified chef, but he'd been unemployed, this is what he told us, been unemployed for about 3 years because of long-term depression. And he told us he used to live a really happy life, a really busy life. He used to go swimming all the time, he played with his children, he used to like playing the guitar, and he was a qualified chef, and he just felt he wasn't doing anything with his life at all. And when he came in to see us, he told us that he just didn't see a future at all. He never thought he was going to get another job. So we assigned him to a mentor, which was with David. So it's just some of the issues that people have when they've got mental health issues. So we assigned him to David, who's a volunteer mentor. He works in the city, and we need other volunteer mentors too. So he met him every week for 4 months. And during this time, he talked to him about what he wants to do. He listened to him, he set him some goals, he set him an action plan, and he helped him find an interesting volunteer role. Now, volunteering is actually, you think it's really easy to start a volunteering process, but it's actually not. It can actually take quite a long time to start volunteering, and it actually takes quite a bit of confidence, because a lot of charities just don't get back to people in their first call or their first email because they're really lacking resources. And it can sometimes be a 4-page application form that you have to fill in. Some of them are very popular roles. And with a lot of people, they just give up, they just stop, and especially if you've got no resilience and you've got no confidence to keep going. So that's why we have the project. So the mentor helped him step by step. He helped him with the application form, he went with him to the interview, and eventually he started volunteering, teaching people who'd suffered strokes and brain injuries how to cook. And when he started, David would call him every day to make sure that he was going, that he was getting out of bed, because that is obviously one of the big hurdles to actually going to work and to volunteer. He would calm him down when he felt, no, I'm just going to leave now because my manager doesn't understand me, or because he felt there was some conflict, or he just lost his confidence. And David was there all the time. And after only 3 months in this placement, Stephen was playing the guitar again, he was taking his kids out, and he'd been offered a paid job at the charity. So this is what Stephen says. He said he was really pleased to be getting up, going to work and earning money. He looked back a year before and he said, I wouldn't have believed I'd be able to do it. Volunteering gave me the strength to take the next step. So why volunteering? Well, volunteering gives people a sense of purpose. And for all of us, feeling needed and valued and that you've got skills, well, we get a lot of that. For all of us who have jobs, we get that from our jobs. Well, volunteering does exactly the same thing. And there are hundreds of different roles that people can do. I said we had about 500 roles. So we've got people who can do cooking, running events, gardening, like at St Mary's Garden, This is the Hackney Pirates, which is quite a very popular charity in Hackney, and that's where older people are teaching young people, with their reading and writing. Running events, working with older people at a lunch club. And this was 2 years ago at the Olympics. This was the one in the middle was one of the Hackney volunteers. We've run very successful volunteering projects before for mental health issues and for people who are ex-offenders. And this is what they've told us. This is what volunteers said they got out of it. So for just under £5,000, we could support 12 people with mental health issues to volunteer for at least 3 months. That's just over £400 a person. I'll just give you the budget. That's just over £400 a person, which is really a very small price to pay to help them to regain the sense of who they are. We could also train up 10 charities in mental health awareness to help them take on more volunteers after the project. And also, of course, 12 charities who've taken on the volunteers will have the resources to deliver more services. But we've got the potential to do way, way more than that. Our partner charities who refer people to us all the time, like City and Hackney Mind or Lee House, they've told us they could take hundreds more referrals. And they've told us their numbers have doubled since last year. We've had to put a stop to it because we just don't have that capacity. So every penny counts.